I see you guys in there talking all that smack. We ain't even late yet, fam. It's 2 minutes till 5. So calm yourself. We have returned. I got dirt with me, man. I got dirt with me, and it looks like we're not going to be reacting because it's not an actual live stream. So I'm going to fix that real quick. It looks like it
was a live stream. It was on.
Oh, it was actually on.
Yeah. I just watched Silent Hill 2.
Was it look any good?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, good. So we could start off with that. Dirt. Welcome to the Addict Show. We talk about the past, present, future gaming. We got too much to talk about to do some intros. Let's go straight into Silent Hill. Hey, Dirt, you was telling me. What's it say at the end of that trailer?
PlayStation 5 console exclusive. It's a timed exclusive for 12 months, which is obviously an entire year. And honestly, Addict, I have no problem with that. It's just business, right? But the issue I have is hypocrisy. That's the word of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Hypocrisy. But go ahead.
And you know the funny thing? I'm going to put the timestamps for 1350 when the show started. The funny thing about this whole thing is they be acting like that this doesn't happen. Like, right. I'm sorry. I'm going to be real with you guys.
Be real, brother.
Sony are they're walking contradictions.
Absolutely.
Like it's crazy that they get away with this stuff. And what's funny is they're going out there saying that they can't compete, but they're locking stuff up like that. So it's just like, you can compete, but I honestly, correct me if I'm wrong, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel like the reason Sony does this stuff they do is because they don't want to nurture outside of the stuff they normally make. So when it comes to getting like the Personas, the Call of Duty marketing rights, they want to rely on those to exceed their brand and not make stuff to rival those. So when Microsoft started buying these stuff, they get nervous because it's not their cup of tea. And if it took off the chessboard.
Facts.
After Silent Hill, Microsoft buy more stuff. Because I feed myself off of the people in the chat that say stupid stuff like they don't do this. Like, and what's crazy is you see a lot of the fanboys agree. They might not come out there openly and say it, but you see they agree. And that's the sad part about it, man. We are live on the Addict Show. What's funny is because I was eating right before the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it took me a couple minutes to get everything going. Because I told my girl to pick up some Chinese, and she never looked at her phone, and I ordered it, and she didn't know that, so she ordered something completely different.
Oh,
so damn. I had to drive all the way back up there and get it. So that's why I was a little late. But I think it's funny. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about in terms of this. I do feel like with these timed exclusives, and the worst part, Dirt, is they can extend.
Yeah.
1 year turns into
Fantasy,
2.
Right.
1 year turns into 2 very easily, and they did it with Destiny. They're very vocal about making that a timed exclusive. It's sad, and the reason it's sad is because a lot of the time these people don't deserve it,
Right.
And it has been rumored for a while that they were going to get an exclusive Silent Hill. It's kind of funny it took this long to get it.
Yep. Silent Hill 2 remake or whatever. They're not even calling it a remake from what I saw. It's just Silent Hill 2. But like I said, I wholeheartedly agree with everything that you're saying. It's business, so I understand why Sony is doing it, but I just can't get over the hypocrisy of them. Like, they have the audacity to sit here and complain about and tell Xbox what they what they can or can't do with Activision Blizzard and the Call of Duty franchise once they acquire them. And then they're crying, they're complaining, and then they constantly do stuff like this. Like I said, I'm going to say this one more time. I have no problem with them signing timed exclusive deals. I have no problem with that. That's business. But don't get mad because Xbox is about to buy Activision Blizzard, and now you're being hypocrites. I just can't stand that, man. So this game being a timed exclusive, cool. Whatever, cool.
Out of curiosity, what's the studio's name?
Bloober.
Oh, it's Bloober. It's funny. I see people posting this this game all over Twitter right now saying, "Oh, it's an exclusive," but it's just like when the Witch Hunt one. What was that? The one that was out on Game Pass, and I think it was an exclusive. The Witch
Medium?
Trial, no, the
Oh.
Witch Trial thing. The last game Blooper made. Someone in the chat correct me. I know one of you guys is gonna correct me. You guys love doing that. One of you guys, Blair Witch. That's what it was.
Blair Witch. Okay, yeah.
They were talking mad smack about that game when it came out, but now I guess they make AAA quality games, man.
Of course, yeah. Now, yeah.
And hopefully, hopefully they've learned from some of the mistakes they made in the Blair Witch, and they make Silent Hill a fantastic game. I hope the game does well because
I like the medium though. Did you like the medium?
I couldn't get down on it.
You couldn't get into
too
it
much,
Yeah.
I think because Silent Hill is such a popular title, it would be nice for that game to have a happy ending,
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on to the actual topics. Welcome to the action. We talk about the past, present, and future game. I got my co-host with me, Dirt Griggity. What you been playing, Dirt?
Well, recently I started Plague's Tale Requiem last night. Love it so far. I love the first one. Even before Game Pass, I bought it when I saw a trailer of it. I said, this game looks pretty good. So I'm loving the sequel so far. I also been playing it's like a what you call them, like a real movie full motion video games called Immortality. That it's okay. It's a little weird. I finished it, I think. I don't even know if I finished it or not, bro. It's just like I got a nice big achievement for the end. So that was about it. I've been playing something else I can't think of it right now. Oh, I started playing Horizon Forbidden West again. Put it back down. It's a pretty game, but I can care less about it. I'm not just being an Xbot right now. It's just it's a beautiful game, but it's just a little slow for me. But that's about it, man. I'm waiting for Friday. I'm going to play that FPS, that 30 FPS Gotham Knights.
Oh, you gonna play that?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it, man.
Well, good for you, man. Good for you. I'm actually waiting for Persona 5 to hit that.
That's Friday too, right?
Yeah, that's Friday. I'm probably stream it on the Gaming Addict channel, so definitely go follow that. I'm trying to do different stuff on Gaming Addict. I don't know if it's gonna work, because my thing is I get too burnt out so quickly on certain things that I want to do something different. I got to be better at like sticking to a script, if that makes sense. So we got some good information for you guys. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So, we're going to start off with this crazy drama that's going on with Bayonetta. Tell me you kept up with this to a point.
A little bit.
Yeah, this is like one of those classic things where it's like, wait till you hear both sides before you start going out there with the pitchforks. So for those of you who don't know, I think Helen, I don't remember her last name, but I think her name was Helen. I don't know. But she is the Alina. I think that's it. Alina. So she is the
Alina. Is it Taylor?
I don't know. She is the leader. One second. She's the leader. Oh, well, she's the voice actress for Bayonetta and Bayonetta 3. Is her name Bayonetta, or is the game just called Bayonetta?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't play Bayonetta.
But
she did the first two, and then when it comes around to the third one, she came out on Twitter and said they only offered her a measly $4,000 to do the whole role. Yeah. I think they said it was 4 days worth of work, so maybe like 15 hours or something like that.
Right.
So it's just like, okay. First off, I still think, even though let me go ahead and explain the whole situation. What ended up happening is everything went crazy. It went through all social media, rightfully so. $4,000 to play someone like Bayonetta, and keep in mind, this isn't like a mad successful game either. It did have a little bit of success, but it's not like a GTA 5. Right. But she went in there demanding like, I think they said like $100,000 or up or something like that.
Yeah, she probably shouldn't have demanded 6 figures for that game.
Yeah, so I think the end of the issue we have here is afterwards they came out and they said, look, we didn't offer her just $4,000. We offered her $4,000 a session, and they said it was like 3 or 4 days worth of work. So in all, she'll be getting like $15,000 Now, I want to ask you a question, Dirk, because for a game that made for a franchise that made $450 million, for both of them, it's not just one. So the whole thing. Do you kind of think that even $15,000 to play the voice act, the main character might be a little bit? I know people that host for like, you know how like, you know, Paris, Lily and all of them, like they'll host events. I know people that host events like that making like 20 stacks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it's kind of ridiculous for $15,000 to voice act the game? I personally feel like, look, she should have been more vocal about what was going on and the issues that she was having. But she shouldn't have held some of that information just to make them look worse. I actually personally feel like she just killed her career.
Really? Well, yeah, like going public with it like that. Yeah, there's definitely a possibility. Yeah.
You broke NDA, and now it's looking like you broke NDA just because you wasn't happy with the pay. And what that's going to look like is you have other agencies. It's like, or do we take her on knowing that something like this can happen just because if they don't come to an agreement on pay?
Right. And especially with something like voice acting, they can just find somebody else to do the damn. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know, you see them or it's crazy.
So that's my issue. My issue with this is like, you should have been better on communication. There should have been a lot more communication. You should have been transparent. You should have took the approach. Look, this is what they offered me. I think I'm worth more than $4,000 a day for 4 days, and then go from there. Well, one of the biggest issues I had from her, and I don't know how you feel, Dirk, I don't like the way she went out there all over after Jennifer Hell. She has no right, signing posters as Bayonetta. Like, first off, I don't know, because I'm not 100% familiar with this, but I'm guarantee you that this individual didn't write the character of Bayonetta. So, to me, how are you going to tell them that wrote the character for Bayonetta and you just played the voice that someone else doesn't have the right? First off, you don't even have the right. You just voiced. You didn't even write. You didn't even make the character. You just voiced them.
Yeah, I agree, bro. She's coming off as a entitled crybaby, like kind of, and like you said, I think she did hurt herself. Especially like going after the voice actress that replaced her. I'm pretty sure the voice actress didn't call Platinum like, look, y'all fire her. Give me the role right now. You know, no, I'm sure they asked her to replace Helena Taylor. So for her to act like that, man, I don't, you know, and at first, when everything first came out, people was kind of on her side because, you know, like we didn't
because she only told half the story, it looks like.
Yeah. So people like, even I was like, yeah, man, like Platinum on some BS. But once everything came out, you're like, oh, okay. There's always three sides to every story, right? But I don't know, man. You know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do think we can have a conversation on whether or not these voice actors that bring these characters to life are getting underpaid. And I think that's been a conversation we've been having for a while, because it's like I said, even though that's still like, I think someone did the math, it's like $200, $300 an hour for the amount of work they asked her to do, $4,000 a day. Oh no, that was just when we thought it was $4,000 in period.
Right.
So it's like, look, like maybe her issue isn't necessarily getting paid. It's just how often she gets asked to do a job. You know, I think because I was watching, I think it was Weapon Wheel, and they were going over like all the stuff that she's done. She hasn't really done much since Bayonetta 2.
Oh, really?
So maybe that showed that, maybe that screams stuff right there. If you haven't been asked to work since 2014 or something in that game, but she did the Super Smash Brothers stuff, but it doesn't seem like she gets asked to do much.
Yeah. Listen, maybe that's intentional because she is difficult. Like, who knows?
Maybe she's hard to work with. I remember I brought up in IOP. I remember when people were saying Wesley Snipes was hard to work with the Blade franchise, and you know, they ended up, you know, obviously I think they would have continued the franchise with him if all the stuff wouldn't happen with him, but it's just like, look, like if you are too hard to deal with for a certain amount of time, they will get rid of you.
And
they have
Hollywood
no problem
will
doing
blackball you, bro. They said Wesley Snipes is very difficult on Blade Trinity. Not 1 and 2, but Blade Trinity, he was extremely difficult. they said he the only scenes that he would do, I actually saw the only scenes that Wesley Snipes would do was scenes that showed his face. Anything else, he used his body double. It was extremely difficult. You know, they said he would use his body double in every scene, except for scenes where he had to talk.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I got $10 super chat from Don Otaku. Everyone who jumped to conclusions, Addict, jumped on the boycott train, Addict. Why are we always talking about me? Needs to go buy 2 copies of Bayonetta 3. Also, there's no way the Bayonetta franchise made $450 million. I don't know what that made. I'm not gonna act like I don't know what that made. I
think it's a big seller,
yeah. But I honestly do feel like the person who played Bayonetta would know that information. So regardless if she's telling the truth or not, look here, Don Otaku. If you listen to me on IOP, I encourage you, Don Otaku, go listen to me on IOP. I said very vocally multiple times, if she is telling the truth on her side, then yes, it needs to be happening. Because if it was only $4,000, just 4, that is a spit in the face. That's why I felt like they were trying to get rid of her. It wasn't about the money. They knew she wouldn't take it. But we know more information now. I only went off the information we had. So yeah, Donald talking. But
yeah,
I think when it comes to this, like, look, I think she might have just killed her career. But unfortunately, if you look at what she got paid, it doesn't look like she had much of a career. I know it sounds really bad, but
yeah, it is what it is, though.
It's just like, all I know is when you're good, you work good, people like you get jobs. But it does seem like maybe she wasn't easy to work with, and if their mindset was like, if we're going to pay you, it's going to be on the cheap side.
Yeah, man. It was like Jeremy Brown said in the chat. When you have a history of being difficult, people will stop calling you. Like he used the example of Edward Norton, incredible actor. You don't see him in much stuff anymore. He's a really hard actor
to work with.
They said he would try to be the director, and eventually Hollywood stopped calling him, man. You know, so like once you get that stigma that you're difficult to work with in any business, whether it's movies, TV, video games, you will stop getting calls. So if she hasn't done anything since Bayonetta 2, I don't know. That's something to look at, man. That's something to look at.
And
that's for a reason.
That's just the individual in the podcast was correct. I think my issue with the whole matter is like, how you gonna come out and say don't support anything related to that? How you gonna come out there and say that person doesn't have the right to sign posters as Bayonetta? Like, and how are you gonna sit there and say if they make a sequel, don't support it? Like, it's just the consequences. That's like equivalent to, you know, when Johnny Depp got kicked out of the what's the Harry Potter franchise, the prequels.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, the prequels. What were they called? I know the chat knows.
Oh, I can't think of the name of it, but I know the ones you're talking about. They just released another one not too long ago.
Yeah, because Johnny Depp was originally the main antagonist.
Oh, really?
And they ripped him off of it after all. Yeah, Fantastic Beasts. And they ripped him off of it after all those allegations and stuff happened. That's like equivalent to, like, I don't even think Johnny Depp really said much. Like, and he was done wrong. I mean, he got cleared in the courtroom, and I don't think he went out there and said, yeah, don't support this. Like, for the most part, I think he was keeping his mouth shut. So it's just like, look, like, and he got money ripped from him. It wasn't the same. It was worse. And he just took that like the boss Johnny Depp. It's just like, look, man, I feel like, you know, I'm hoping she still gets work. But it's like, you got to be better on that, man. You can't come out there. Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, he got snatched from that too. There's a couple other jobs he got snatched for. But it's like, you got to be better on that. You can't just come out there and say anything you want to. Like, you got to be better on that. So, you know, there's not much to talk about on that. You know, we'll go ahead and move on with that because
Addy, let me ask you a question though.
Yeah.
Your initial question: $15,000 for a Bayonetta franchise. Maybe that's a little low. You know, my opinion, maybe that's a little low. You would expect the main character of a game with its third iteration of the game, you get paid a little bit more than that.
Well, apparently it was rumored she asked for 100,000 plus.
Nah, she ain't worth 100,000.
Yeah, so I do think that she was being a little emotional with them. Well, obviously she was emotional. This has to do with her. She has every right, realistically, to be emotional. But I do think that she does bring up concern that her in the third iteration of the franchise probably deserve more than even 15 grand. Yeah. You know, I could see a world where she gets like 50.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy if you think about it. She's literally the one probably talking the most, and she's getting paid 15 grand. Hey, chat, do me a number. How many copies does it take to pay off 15 grand with $60 pops? Someone do the math, because I ain't doing it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this super chat real quick. The Angry Therapist, MD, said with the $5 super chat, what other voice work she done, or Nintendo about to body her bank account? I hope they don't. You know, I do feel like she's being a little immature, and she probably should have, handled the situation differently. But I don't think she deserves to be in a worse situation than she was before. I feel like, she burnt some bridges. That's good enough. I don't think she needs the 250 copies. That's what the chat says.
That's
250 copies to pay for the voice actor.
Oh, that ain't much.
And that's not even including the game, like the what's the word I'm looking for? The collector's edition or anything like that. That's nothing to do with those. That's crazy, man. We're gonna move on for that before I get annoyed even more. And that's why I said, I do think it did bring up scenarios that, they need to do better with paid actors in general. Because that might be one of the reasons that we don't really get too many paid actors, because they don't pay them. So why would you realistically come into that franchise when you don't even really get paid to do it? And right. I don't blame them. So, all right. So here we go with the Xbox Series S, man. Do you know what's going on? The 30 frames. I heard you guys talking a little bit about it.
Yeah, we was talking about a little bit of it. Yeah, man, this is interesting stuff. I saw you in the chat. You were saying some things about it. It's interesting stuff, man. I would like to hear your take on it about the Xbox Series S being blamed for 30 frame games.
All right, so I do have I did reach out to someone that works on both of these platforms. All right. $5 super chat from Donald Taco. Bayonetta won't have much voice actors as the previous two games because there's a new main character sharing the spotlight. I feel you, Donald Taco, and I think Dirt might agree with this. Regardless if there's another person sharing the screen, that's Bayonetta.
She's the main person. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Like imagine like somebody telling like Christopher Judge, hey, listen, I know you're Kratos, but there's going to be another character and they're going to get just as much as you. Christopher Judge was like, boy, it's my, you better give me my money. I'm supposed to get paid the most. Just like, hey, remember Iron Man 1? Like the movie Iron Man 1, Terrence Howard somehow got more money than Robert Downey Jr. So when Iron Man 2 came around, they was going to change the deal. To Terrence Howard was like, nah, I still want this deal. And he was like, no, you can't get more than Robert Downey Jr. So they gladly replace him with Don Cheadle. Like, no, bro.
Yeah, and the sad part is just like, some of these people get a little too full of themselves. Yeah,
they definitely do, man.
I think what it was, dang, man, you completely derailed this whole thing. 1 second.
Yeah, man.
We was going to move on, but he done derailed the podcast even a little bit more. I think some of these people think they can't do it without them, and then the creators show them exactly how much they value them.
Facts.
All right, so let's get back to the Xbox. He definitely derailed that a little bit. Let me see if we answered. Yeah, okay. So pretty much what's going on is a developer, I think it was from Rocksteady. It wasn't even the people who are making this game. For Gotham Knights, people came out and said Gotham Knights is 30 frames on all platforms. And a developer, not even for the company that's working on the game, came out and said that it's the Xbox Series S's fault. And he referred to it as a rock or something like that. Potato. That's what it was.
Potato. That's what he said, potato.
So it's just, all right. I think we can agree that it's probably a little bit harder to work on the Xbox Series S.
He admitted that. Yeah, that it's actually work. It is.
There are people and developers that okay, we can't make this run exactly how the Xbox Series X version is, so we'll just make another patch or something for that particular game, for that particular console. So I talked to someone that works on both platforms. I'm going to read his quote. I'm not going to tell you who it is. Well, it's mainly about the chat, not you, Dirt. But so this is what they said. Now I'm gonna have to. He compared it to certain other games, and if I tell you the games, it's gonna like tell you what games he worked on, and I can't have that either. So
Gotcha.
he said online co-op is hard. Untethered co-op is even harder, much harder. And they said it's untethered, correct?
Mm.
Now, I don't know how the game was built or how the engine code is exactly handling things, but I bet having to sync all the data for the AI, game objectives, and object transformation information will cause a huge toll. Does that mean all senses need to be locked at the same frame rate so that everything has the same tick-tock and remain in sync? That's the only way of doing it. Blank used to do this. That was one of the games he used to work on. With thinking about that, the one game where the Series S does come into play is less memory, which would have a much would make it much harder to keep all that information synced. However, there is a PC port that will have variable frame rates across machines, and there will be co-op. The main takeaways that the devs are describing is insanely complicated. Does come with drawbacks. Whether it's the right choice or is a whole different decision. So he's pretty much saying what they did might have not been the right choice, but you can't really go too much into that. And then he said, but I'm sure they had to make some tough trade-offs. Blank used to do untethered co-op and ran into a ton of issues, which is why that particular game has a radius. So look, I think that we can all agree that this particular developer on Twitter, I don't think he was coming out there openly attacking the Series S. I just think he's vocalizing his frustrations with the platform, like having to have them both on the X and the S. But here's my thing. If other developers do it, Dying Light 2 and them do it, you have no business complaining about this. Like, it's your job. At the end of the day, that's just your job. So what do you think, Derek?
Well, I remember when Phil Spencer even admitted that the Xbox Series S will be more work. It will be more work for the developers. But it is what it is, right? I'm not a developer, obviously. I don't know all the terminology and all that stuff of what's going on. But all I can do as a gamer is look at other games, right? I understand some of the other games are different experiences. They might not have co-op or untethered co-op or whatever, but I just see games running in the 120 frames on the Xbox Series S. I see games running at 60 on the Xbox Series S. I don't know, man. To me, it seems like I don't know what personal gripe he has with the console. Maybe because it is extra work, and they don't like the extra work that is causing those guys to do. But I believe at the end of the day, I think the Xbox Series S has proven to be a good strategy by Microsoft, and I think it's going to get better. Some people say it's going to get worse throughout the gen. Some people say it's going to get worse throughout the gen. I think it's going to get better, once some other things are, like once the SDKs mature more, and then, like every generation, the consoles get better throughout the generation. So, this is how I feel about it, man. They hate no little bro.
Yeah, it's just like I understand. I do to a point. But it's just like, dude, regardless how, if you don't like this, just go work for an indie developer at this point. You work for a AAA product that's going to make multiple ports of a game. Mm-hmm. And it does cause more issues developing for as many things as you possibly can, but it's just like, that's where you're going to get some of your sales. Like, the Absolutely. Xbox Series S is going to sell a lot. That's what's going to pay your salary.
Absolutely.
So
it's going to sell well. It has sold well. It's going to continue to sell well. So I know some of those developers, it's extra work, but hey, man, like you said, it's your job. I know we all have jobs. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you, didn't he end up deleting his Twitter or something?
Yeah, he deleted it or something. I guarantee Rocksteady or WB. Look, listen, man, what are you doing?
We
We
got to
got to make games for that
games
console.
for this console.
We got to make games for this console. What the hell are you doing? What's wrong with you, man? Delete all that stuff, idiot. This is 2 years into the generation. We got to make games for this console throughout the rest of the generation. Chill out.
It's sad. It is, and I don't feel like it's like I said, I don't feel like the dude himself was like attacking the consoles. I think he was just voicing frustrations on working on the consoles. Because if you are working on like a high, because I'm sure that for the most part they're working on the next gen consoles and they're down playing for the other console. I'm sure he would get frustrated by working in that kind of environment. But it's like you do it with PC. PC's got like 15 iterations that you work with, a bunch of cards. Right. So it's just like, I don't see the issue, and I see other people doing it just fine. And maybe not just fine. That I don't need to put those words out there. But I see other people doing it. And you know, I honestly feel like we're going to get a 60 frames post-launch. But at that point, I don't care.
Yeah. Possibly because a lot of games was, you know, like Cyberpunk.
Dying Light 2.
Like I said, Dying Light 2, a lot of games was able to drop 60 frames per second after launch. And I don't know if you saw the Callisto Protocol official Twitter came out and said,
"There's some smoke.
We will have a 60 frames per second performance mode." So I thought that was funny.
You know what's funny? It was rumored that Protocol is going to delay to like February of next year.
Yeah.
And they came out to debunk those rumors and said, "Oh, and we'll have a 60 frames mode."
Right, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, like, yo,
I quote tweeted. I was like, day one. And I heard Plague's Tale's 30 frames too, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I can't get down on that, man.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something because I said this the other day on WBG. Last generation, I was one of them guys. I really couldn't tell the difference. You know, I'm not a PC gamer. I really couldn't tell the difference. But this generation, I could tell the difference, specifically with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I remember when they added a 4K 30 mode and like they already had a 60 mode or whatever. And I went to that 30, then I went back to that 60. I said, "Oh, I can tell now. I can tell the difference." So, Plague's Tale it runs pretty well. But it would have been better at 60.
Yeah, so I mean I think that's all. I see people in the same attic you refer to the Series S as a potato. I'm sure compared to the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X, and the PS5, it is a potato. like that's what you like. Look, just because we as consumers like the Series S does not mean the people working on it is the biggest fan of it. You know, and keep in mind, something like the Series S and X has never been done, ever. They're not used to working on, like, this many SKUs in one generation. They're used to working on a bunch of PC ones, which most PC ports are horrible for the most part. So that shows there how much they care about the PC market half the time. And then they're used to working on 2 platforms most of the time. Now they got to worry about the third one as well. Sure, that it's good for us. Cheap console. Pretty unique way of getting into a casual audience is the Xbox Series S. But when you look at it from the developer thing, it's just more work. And I'm not saying that, you know, it's their job, but they still have the right to be frustrated with their job. But I do feel like this person in particular should have chose his words better. You know, because he kind of gives me like one of these PlayStation fanboys got a job kind of feeling, like feeling on Twitter, like he finally got a job as a developer and he called an Xbox Series S a potato the first chance he got. But you know, that's still his opinion. He can give that because he actually be making these games.
Yeah, of course. But you know, at the end of the day, even us, you know, our jobs, like sometimes, you know, our boss might ask us to do something that we be like, "Oh, come on, man, I don't want to do that." So I mean, there's things like that. I'm sure people like developers was pissed off about the PS3 at launch. They was like, "What is this? This sale process? This is difficult to develop for." You know, same with the Sega Saturn. So there's been challenges for developers before, from what we've heard. This is just another challenge, man. I mean, you know, like you said, this has never been done at launch before. Of course, last generation we got the Xbox One X, the Xbox One S, and PS4 and all that. But listen, man, there's a different time. So the guy has his opinion. He can say what you want to say. But look, brother, if you say what you want to say, people will call you out if they disagree. And that's what happened.
You're fine. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's all there really is today to say about that. You know, I don't think people are going to be saying something about the Series S. Because, like, look, people have spoken against the Series S. But the funny thing is the same developers that speak against it, that development team later on makes a 60 frame mode for the consoles that they said it couldn't happen.
I remember Doom. This
Dying
was
Light 2 was another one of them.
Yeah, Donna. But I remember like somebody from id Software before Xbox bought them was complaining about the Xbox Series S. Like, I don't know if you remember. And of course, they still dropped the 60 frames per second mode. That's what it seems to me. It's just a little bit more work instead of just, doing the Xbox One. I'm sorry, the Xbox Series X version and it's done. They also got to do the S version. This just seems like this more work.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We'll go ahead and move on because we got to talk about this God of War coming out really soon. Dirt, I saw your prediction thing about it. So
you did, yeah.
I actually like that, man. When I watch your show, I'm gonna jack that. I'm gonna jack that. I never end up doing it, but I'm gonna jack that. But I think I am gonna jack this. So with it coming out in 2 weeks, because I have a feeling I'm gonna start setting up an Xbox draft thing. I've been working on it. It's gonna be a show that I might invite another person, have a team of 3, and we're pretty much just gonna like fantasy draft the consoles. And I'm gonna have like a little system in place between us that we can like cancel each other's bet and stuff. Okay. So I think that's going to be fun. First off, I got to learn how to play the fantasy draft because I don't do sports. But we'll see how it goes. So, all right. So God of War, I think we can all agree that game, for the most part, we think is going to do good, and it's 49, 45. We're going to get out of here relatively soon today. I'm all for it, man. All right. So God of War, guys. First off, I want the chat. I want you to put in there. Do me a favor, put in there what you guys think the Metacritic. I see some of you already doing it, but I need these Metacritic scores, man. We'll give you 3. What I want you guys to do is put 3 point gap, like 38 to 92. No, yeah, 92. So that's what I want you guys to do. 3 gap, and I'm just curious. First off, what we're gonna do is just go ahead and see your overall expectations that you have for this game, Dirt.
Well, I've let it be known before. Everybody knows I'm a bot, right, Addict? But I've let it be known before. I'm an honest guy, and God of War is one of my favorite franchises, period.
So it's a 95 to 98. You were delusional, my friend.
No, I did not say that.
No, someone in the chat 92. Said 95 to 98.
No. So you want me to do the 3?
Yeah, do 3.
I'm going to say between 89 and 92.
I'm going to say 88 and 91.
Okay.
For some reason, I think that this game might not hit over a 90. Might do like an 89 type of scenario. Because
I think the PlayStation fanboys might lose their mind.
I already know people playing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. So, I think this game could do well. The question is I have to you, Dirt, is are you worried about anything about what you've seen? Are you worried anything about like combat you may have seen, how they're changing some of the element system? Is there anything that you're kind of worried about God of War?
Honestly, no. From what I've seen, for me, loving 2018 God of War, no, it looks pretty good to me. I mean, so far, I haven't seen anything that had me raise my eyebrows. Like, hold on, what is this mess? No, I haven't seen anything that made me question anything at this point. Looks good to me so far.
I think that I'm worried about story condensing.
Okay.
We have Freya as a storyline. We clearly have the god anarchy in general, like Odin, Thor. I feel like there's still a lot of Norse mythology left in the franchise, like in this.
So you said it should have been 3 games instead of 2.
Yes, I feel like this game should focus on Thor, and the next game should have focused on Odin and Freya.
I understand what you're saying.
But
because you think about it, it should have been 3 games. You know, they saying the original, it was going to be another trilogy. But yeah, you're right about that, and it's the same length. They said the game is the same length as 2018's God of War. So that does mean they stuff a lot of content in there, right? I see what you're saying.
I think that's my biggest concern. It's like the same concern I had for Kingdom Hearts 3. There was just a lot of information, a lot of story variables that they had to tell in one game, and I don't know if that is possible. I personally feel like the game will probably start with you fighting Thor. Yeah, I think they're going to try to do another Strangers thing. You're going to yank his hammer out of his hand, and then you're going to end up fighting some people throughout the game, and Odin will be the last boss. I don't know what they're going to put Freya in this whole thing. And then you got to look at the Egyptian girl that's in there. They've already confirmed she's in the game, so I'm not spoiling anything. But how does she fit in this? Apparently, the game's supposed to go to Egyptian next. Like, how does that fit in this? And then you got the Greek mythology part of it that they haven't explained what happened between 3 and 2018 yet. That's got to be in this game. And then they showed they showed Zeus in Helheim or whatever that place is called in 2018. So I feel like if they showed that, like, something related to him's going to be in this game. I don't know if it's going to be like him in general or him as a ghost or something. I actually think it would be cool is somehow if they had 3 and somehow after the end of this one, all the Greek mythology gets revived somehow. And the third one is the giant war between Norse mythology and Greek mythology. And at the end, it's a 3-way fight between you, Odin, and Zeus. Yeah, it's a lot of things they could do. I'm just worried, is there too much stuff? Is there too much to realistically do the whole storyline in a way that makes sense that people like? And I'm just worried that they might not do it.
I think that's a valid question. A valid question is, especially if you're into Norse mythology, and things that most people like me, I don't know certain things. I've heard of, Odin and of course Thor, but if you know more about Norse mythology than the average person, you say, hold on, man, y'all gonna force all of this into one game that's still about 20 hours long. It's not a longer game. It's not 40 hours long. It's still the same length as the first one from 2018 is. So yeah, that is a valid question.
And I think 18's good. 18 was probably top 3 of the best games that came out last gen. But 18 had so many flaws. If you really think about it, 18 got so many people on. Their hook was amazing. Fighting the stranger out the gate. And I think that was such a good hook. People forgot about all the nonsense in the middle. And it's just like, look, but I'm not one of those people. I'll keep it real. I'll tell you, I did not like multiple trolls fighting the same thing. I didn't like the fact that they pretty much stripped the boss fights in this franchise. There's no boss fights in 18, really. There's very few.
That's true. Yeah, because like the previous God of War games had so many boss fights.
Think
about how Part 3 started.
There's more boss fights probably in 3 hours of God of War 3 than there is in all of God of War 2018.
Yeah,
you start God of War 3 fighting Poseidon.
Right, yeah.
Like, you kick him out of the little water thing, and then it shows that gory scene you walking up to him and that blood's dropping off of you, and you just start hitting him and over again. Like,
yeah, because like in 2018, what boss fights was it? You fought the stranger twice, right?
Then you fought the dragon.
Right, the dragon. But that's about it, isn't it?
It's the only thing I could think of, unless you count like the 3,000 trolls. I've said it multiple times, and I'll say it again because it's ridiculous. I will never forget going to the gate portal of hell. Pretty much, they kept saying, "You have to go here. You have to go here." And this gatekeeper, they keep building him up to be this giant, fearsome foe. It's an upgraded troll that can teleport, like ogre troll, however you guys want to say. It's just the game was good, and I think it was good because of the presentation more than anything. You had the Valkyries. I guess you count the Valkyries.
Yeah, you count them.
Yeah, but I mean, they're pretty much just a mold that they just gave new abilities to. It's not like they were.
Did I beat
boss.
Anyone? I don't know if I beat anyone.
I didn't beat the Queen, but I beat a bunch of the little mini ones. That was a good feature, though. I hope they bring something like similar like that back. Like 18 was a good game, but it was in no way, shape, or form better than 3. I would say it's better than 1. I think God of War 18 is better than God of War 1. And that's a lot of that is because what made God of War, I felt like didn't start really captivating till 2. But God of War 1 was still an amazing game.
Yeah,
that's the funny thing. The key God of Wars, none of the and people like the spin-offs. Well, you know, the prequels, the sequels that the main installments that do. People love those, but the main installments of God of War is some of the best action adventure you will ever see in a video game.
I agree.
Especially God of War 3. Best action adventure game I've ever played.
Let me tell you something. When I when I got the Xbox 360, I was content with the Xbox 360 for years until God of War 3 came out. Then I said, okay, I got to get me a PS3. I finally got me a PS3, blown away by God of War 3.
And that's why I feel like, you know, it's okay to have disagreements. You know, I personally feel like the game is fantastic, but I actually think Persona 5 is a better game than God of War. So, and that's maybe because I'm more of a turn-based person, so I would actually vibe with that kind of gameplay more. But I feel like the one thing I can always give Atlas is they never abandoned the turn-based. They never went to like real-time real-time fighting like they did with Final Fantasy with 12. They never done none of that. Like Atlas, for the most part, is like, we want to keep this gameplay because our fans love it and we're good at it. And then they're like, how can we make it better? And I got to give Atlas that because Square has been downhill for years to me, and Atlas stay true to themselves.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I don't really agree with Non-Otaku much, and I'm still not really agreeing with them here. But that Prince of Persia trilogy was absolutely incredible. From like in the PS2, Xbox days, Sands of Time, was it The Warrior Within? And I forgot the 3 names, but those games were incredible, bro. Absolutely incredible.
Speaking of Don Otaku, we got a $5 super chat from Don Otaku. Did you all see the post about Gran Turismo 7's paid Suede reviews? If you haven't, search Gran Turismo 7 love letter. I don't trust anymore. Did you see that dude? The people that were saying that they got blacklisted. They didn't get blacklisted by God of War, but apparently they did Ratchet and Clank. And I don't remember what outlet it was, but Sony responded to them saying, we didn't like your tone.
I can't think of the name, something, but yeah, I saw that. He said they didn't like their tone with it. Yeah, so PlayStation like, yo, Escapist. Okay, yeah, that's the website.
That's crazy. And we've seen that before. We've seen them do that stuff before.
With Survivor?
And I've told you guys, I've talked to people that reviewed Last of Us Part 2. I've been told by many people that is the craziest embargo they have ever seen in their whole life.
Wow.
Like, Sony really does be trying to, like convert these people. Like, because people ask in the chat, no, I don't have God of War. PlayStation's almost impossible to get a hold of. Almost impossible. I don't know. I know big PlayStation people that don't even have a contact there. That's like one of the, like, it seems like to me, like, they're very friendly with non-American companies or non-American influencers, but when it's an American influencer, you gotta be like the top of the cream to get for them to talk to you. So it's like, look, like, what's funny is Paris Lilial has a good relationship with them apparently, and I didn't even see him posting he had God of War.
I think he did post that.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, I think he did post
good for him, but it's just like, you know, God of War gonna come out. Well, we're gonna see. I think he said the 2nd is when the embargo is, 2nd or 4th?
The 2nd of November, yep.
So when is that? I will. All right, so we are announcing something on so it comes out a week. That's good. A week embargo?
Yeah.
Before the game comes out? Okay, maybe I will. It's getting a 90 above. A week is a lot. It's a long time. Oh yeah,
Ain't that confident.
people want us to talk about the Avowed Leak, so
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll talk about that
Yeah.
because, you know, the good thing about having two people is we go through topics relatively fast.
Yep.
All right, so let's go and talk about the Avowed Leak that Jez Corden did not leak. Let's keep this real.
Right.
I know a lot of people were saying it was his thing. Let me tell you guys too. You guys know how much trouble he can get into if people think he leaked something like that. Like he didn't leak it, so he got ahead of it pretty fast. But like people got to be a little bit more like sensitive with that kind of information. Like they were literally making articles saying it was his leak.
Yep.
Like he had to make an actual statement saying he didn't leak that. I know things about Avowed that I'm not allowed to talk about. But I think you guys are going to enjoy it. For those of you that don't know, there was a leak show that was shown using some kind of magic spell or something like that.
It looked good.
And apparently it's like 2 years old.
Yeah.
And it looked that good.
It looked pretty good, yeah. Like Obsidian, this is one of those developers.
I think that's their GOAT right now.
Yeah, like you just trust them, right? You just trust them. I haven't put a lot of time into Grounded, but I see how a lot of people's absolutely loving it.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I love the Outer Worlds. I'm definitely looking forward to Avowed. And I'm going to be honest with you. We made fun of Pentiment. That's how we say Pentiment. Pentiment.
And watch it be a 90 plus on Metacritic.
Yeah, we made fun of it. The art style is like didn't blow us away, but you better believe when it drops, I'm going to be playing. I'm going to give it a fair shake.
I'm going to ask for a review code. I think after I need to get, I've said this a couple times, I need to be better on separating the developer from the genre they make games with. Because when I see something like Pentiment or maybe not Pentiment, it's a little bit like Grounded. It's Grounded got a little bit of RPG mechanics, but not as much as I'm used to from Obsidian. The first thing I think of is that's not the type of game I want from them. I don't want to play it. And I think I need to be better on that because these developers are diverse enough to make multiple types of games.
Yep. Exactly. And this is all from one studio, you know. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it because I'm a type of guy I would try any type of game, right? I'm going to try Persona. I'm going to give it a shot. Even though I'm not a big turn-based guy, I'm going to give it a shot. I just like video games, and I try all types of video games. I might like it, I might not. I'm not that crazy about Scorn yet, but I'm going to give it a fair shot.
We're actually going to talk about Scorn.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know our topics, if you look in the description, you'll see the topics, all of them. Because I prematurely put them in there so I could just change the time.
Yeah.
Because the timestamp mafia scare me. So
timestamp mafia, they don't play no games.
Yeah,
man.
Timestamp. I need to you know how I have an emote on emotes on ILP. I need an emote with timestamp mafia.
Timestamp mafia.
Yeah. What I would do is I would have like every time I say timestamp mafia, like right here on the podcast, because it's black up here because I don't have an overlay yet. Right. I'll just have like dirt going and like covering me up. So yeah, we will be talking about Scorn. I think when it comes to Avowed, people talk about Starfield. People talk about Elder Scrolls 6. People talk about The Outer Worlds 2 to a point. I think so many people are not realizing that Avowed is going to hit. I think Avowed's going to hit hard.
Right.
And we've seen time again where Obsidian is hit with a budget, like a very light budget.
Right. Absolutely.
This game, I've been told, has a massive budget. It's way bigger than any of the other Obsidian titles. Another one that has a huge budget is Fable. So it's just like, I think you're going to see an Elder Scrolls style game. Like success like Skyrim. As long as they do certain things, I do think that it's going to have huge mod support to be as successful as Skyrim. And obviously they're going to do that, but it's easier to mod on Skyrim. I don't know how easy it is to mod on these type of games. So I think it's interesting, man. I think that people always talk about Microsoft's other studios, but I don't think people realize exactly. First off, for those of you who don't know, Dirt, you know what universe Avowed's in, don't you?
Yeah, it's supposed to be in
the Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah, Pillars of Eternity. Yeah.
You know how gods are made in Pillars of Eternity?
No, I don't.
They're literally made it's like they're fake. Like they're man-made. A lot of them are. There's obviously some are. I'm probably butchering this lore, but I'm gonna try it anyway. If you guys want to correct my lore, correct it in the comment section, because I don't 100% remember everything. But what I remember, the whole game was about proving that some of the gods are fake and some of them aren't. And if you look at the only trailer we have for Avowed, that, how it hit the banner at the end? That banner is one of the people for one of the strongest gods. Like that's where they worship her. And what ends up happening is they pretty much have to kill a bunch of these gods. And one of them is trying to prove that they are a god. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's intense. Just expand on the lore and provide me more fighting options. I agree. I'm not going to really go too much into the lore stuff because I did a bunch of research one night, but I can't remember exactly everything on it. But I recommend you guys go look at the lore. There's dragons in this game. There's a lot of stuff in this game. And if I remember correctly, it's like I think the gods are fake. And I think the whole point of the Pillars of Eternity was to rebuild that whole thing. But I can't remember. But that's pretty much all we had to really talk about that. I think Avowed's going to do numbers. And the fact that we're seeing this much hype for Avowed so far, I think we might see it at the Video Game Awards.
Possible. Hey, did you also hear, because I heard something about Avowed was one of the reasons Xbox wanted to purchase Obsidian.
It was the only reason.
Oh,
they saw that game and they were very impressed by it and they bought it. Obviously, Obsidian was bought because of the name. Let's be real here. If you guys go look, what's funny is you got all these people talking negatively about all these studios that they bought. Go look at Double Fine. All their games almost 80s and above. Almost all of them. There's very few of them. Now, clearly, they've made the most, so some of them are hits and misses, but they've made a lot of hits. Ninja Theory, same thing. A lot of their games are highly 80s and above. Obsidian's almost never made a 90 lower game.
Right.
So, that's the reason they were bought.
And what's so crazy about some of those teams that you mentioned? A lot of these teams have made great quality games, but none of them had a Microsoft backing them, right? Double Fine. I can't wait to see Double Fine's next game, bro. Psychonauts 2 was incredible, and we heard the story that once Xbox acquired them, they were able to put all of the bosses back in the game because Tim Schafer said on the interview with Adam Sessler he had to take all the bosses out of the game because it was a crowdfunding game.
And you know what's funny? The fact that people will sit there and they'll say, what has Microsoft done to benefit these studios? When there was a bunch of content put into Wasteland 3 because of that delay that Microsoft allowed them to finish. The bosses were put back into Psychonauts 2. They've already helped these games.
Absolutely.
And there's not even been a whole lot that's done on it. That's the funny part of this. What you said, Double Fine?
Yeah.
What's a game that they've made?
Double Fine, Psychonauts 2, Brutal Legend. I just can't wait to see what they're gonna do next. Just with Microsoft fully behind them, because I remember seeing an interview with Tim Schafer where where he was talking about Xbox acquiring them and how much better that is. That he doesn't have to shop their games, hoping the publisher will pick it up. He doesn't have to worry about that. They could just go and be creative. And I can't wait to see what their next game is going to be. Because Psychonauts 2 was an absolutely incredible game.
So I think people don't realize too is, hold on, I'm rearranging something real quick. All right, I'm putting in the my screen. I will get to that super chat momentarily. So here is Psychonauts' games. I'll go. Do you want me to give you the link to it, or are you good just me going over the games?
Be fine. Yeah, I'm looking at it on the screen right now.
Okay, so let me make it a little bit bigger for you. Yeah. So here's Psychonauts games. Double Fine's games. 91, 87. Well, obviously, we'll go with the middle one, 87. Then you got 83, 79, 79, 76, 84, And what's funny is like they got a lot of games that they've worked on: 92, 86, 78, 81, 90, 80, 84, 84. It's like I said, they've made a lot more games
A lot of
than
these
the average
games was
person.
just to pay the bills, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've made a lot more games than your average person.
Yeah.
And even with that, the majority of these like lower Metacritic games is just one game with all the iterations. Like so they've done well. It's just some of their games were misses, and you see a lot of yellow because those games are getting multiple different platforms. So then we look at something like the Outer Worlds. Let's look at that.
Great game, loved it. And you can tell that game didn't have a big budget either, but it was still a damn good game.
Obsidian. Look at this nonsense, man. I don't count DLC because I feel like DLC doesn't have the. I feel like DLC is just reviewed that it's just a part on for another game. It's not reviewed fairly. DLC. Right. If that makes sense. Like when you review a DLC, they're just reviewing as part of that game that they've already played, and I feel like it already has to fight uphill because of that. But I mean, look at this. We'll go from actual thing. Grounded 84. See Outer Worlds DLC. Then we have the Outer Worlds. Man, Pillars of Eternity. So these are all DLC. Outer Worlds 82, 85. Good solid 82 for that's the Switch. 88 for Pillars of Eternity. We got 86, 85. We got an 80 called Tyrant. I've never heard of that game. Pathfinder 85. Then we got some more DLCs. Pillars of Eternity was an 89. You got South Park Stick of Truth was anywhere from 80 to an 85. Then you have Dragon Siege 2. I didn't even know they made that game. Fallout New Vegas. These are all DLCs. Fallout New Vegas is an 84, which that's if it wasn't for like glitches and stuff, I think that game probably would have scored higher. Yeah. 82, 82, 85, 86. They made the Knights of the Realm 2. Like they've done a lot. Like they have done a lot, and I think that people don't really give them the benefit of the doubt. That's why I feel like that's their best studio.
They're working, bro. Like how to it's like the second half of last gen, the coalition was like Xbox workhorse. It seems like the second half of last gen. It seems like Obsidian is doing that right now. Even though some of the games have been smaller, they're working on their bigger games. So shout out to Obsidian.
And I've been told the Outer Worlds 2 is closer than people think. I think there'll probably be a year between the Outer Worlds 2 and the Avowed.
Really? Now, let me ask you this. Do you think Avowed is 2023, late 2023?
I think Avowed's 2024. Early 2024.
Okay.
Here, because I know Hellblade 2 is scheduled for 2023. Probably holiday. Starfield is scheduled before that, like probably 6 months. If I were a betting man, and I don't know anything, I'm just going off of like little things I hear, I would say you'll see Starfield before E3 next year unless it gets pushed back. And then like 6 months later, you'll see Hellblade 2. And then like 3 months later, you'll see Avowed. And then I think 6 months from then, you see Compulsion's game. And another 3 months, you'll see another game. And then you'll probably Perfect 3 months Dark. After that, you'll see the Outer Worlds 2. And then keep in mind, the entire time they're building this, these original studios that were making stuff, they're already probably midway through half of the development to their next game.
Next game, yeah. See, that's why I said once their games start rolling, it's going to continue to roll because, like you just said, a perfect example. Say next year, Redfall, right? Like Redfall drops in March. Deathloop dropped last year, right? In 2021. So by the time 2024 hits, Arcane Leon might be ready to show off their next game or drop their next game. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. So they're going to have consistent content. Like Perfect Dark is a game you didn't mention. Like, what is the Coalition working on, right? We don't know what they're working on. There's so much.
Apparently, they're working on a smaller title. They're not working on Gear 6 yet because they want to really learn how to use
the Unreal Engine 5.
The Unreal Engine 5. We got a $5 super chat from Max City in ENT.
City.
PlayStation locking down Silent Hill while hating on Xbox Activision deal. CML literally ignoring Sony's taking gains from gamers because they don't care. Like CMA, they've shown that I feel like they've been bought. Like we're about to get into that. here in a couple minutes. We'll get into that a little bit more. But I'm gonna be real with you guys. I think they've been bought. Let's get on to Scorn. What'd you play on Scorn, Dirt?
I only played it for like 30 minutes, bro. I played it, stopped playing 2K, and then next thing I know, I didn't go back to it. I'm definitely going to give it another shot because it's a beautiful game. The graphics are really good. But I got to get into it. Like, Scorn is the type of game you have to be in the mood to play. For me personally, I like there are certain games like a Telltale game. I love those games, but I have to be in a certain mood to play them. Scorn seems to be one of those type of games I have to be in the mood to play, where I feel like, thinking and things like that. So I'm definitely going to give it another shot. But so far, I didn't play enough of it. So what you think about it?
So I played about 2.5 hours, 3. Played a little bit off stream, not much. I think they kind of false advertise this game. They don't really tell you what this game's about. Like, they just go off shock value like the entire time. What I will say is this game has some of the best immersion I've ever experienced in a video game. I don't get creeped out in games very often, but let me tell you, this game was creeping me out. If you get creeped out playing a video game, they have done a very good job immersing you in that world for you to get creeped out like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's all this game got going for it. It doesn't really feel like it's got a storyline with it. It doesn't feel like it's got anything going for it but the immersion. And the sad part, Dirt, is immersion is a hard thing to get. And they got the hardest thing in games to make, really. Besides, some sound infrastructure to making games. But it's just like, how they get the hardest thing, which is to really immerse the player in playing the game, but they don't do anything else. Like, I get it. This is one of those games where it's like the world tells you a story. Ain't none of that nonsense. I don't want to hear none of that nonsense. I get so sick and tired of people telling me for me to make the story of a game. No, they make the story of the game. That's their job. It's different if, they say they didn't. They've never came out openly said that this game was going to have like in-depth of a narrative. But so pretty much you start this game and you have no clue what's going on. Like, they give you like some little vague detail of like how the game's going to be played, not necessarily the narrative of where you are at, what's going on. They kind of tell you a little bit, but not like a lot. And I'm just sitting here like, I use this in an evaluation. Like, if they would have actually put more time into the story of this, put more time into maybe some cutscenes to explain stuff in a good way, this would be up there with Dead Space. And the reason I say that is because this game, Dead Space, was good at the immersion, and they got good story, and that's what those two together made Dead Space Dead Space. This game has better immersion than Dead Space to me. But the problem is Dead Space had decent fighting, combat mechanics, and they had really good story elements, and this game has none of that. Right. And I'm sitting here looking at this world, and I'm just like, wouldn't it be nice to know what the hell I'm doing? It's like equivalent in Dead Space, for those of you that's played Dead Space 1, and when your girlfriend, she gives you an SOS saying stuff's gone down, and then you go there, you're talking to the mercenaries, you get dropped off, and then the game starts from there, where you happen to find things to get certain parts of the ship running. Now imagine taking all of that off the game, and you just wake up. That's Scorn. So it's just like, if they would have explained why you look the way you do, or where you're at, maybe you're in a portion of hell or something, it done a better job. Like, that stuff is probably in this game somewhere, but it's poorly told. It's just like, I always sell there was certain games Xbox has gotten behind or made that had so much potential they never done anything with. For instance, I feel like Rise and Rome, mad potential, never done anything with. I've always felt like what's the weird game that people always make fun of with the robots? Recore.
I love Recore.
Recore, so much potential. If it would have got a sequel, I feel like it could have went to a completely different realm. These games never got stuff, and I always felt like, especially Recore, had so much potential to be a franchise for Microsoft. This game, Scorn, beats both of them in potential. Because I feel like, unlike those other games, unlike Rise and Rome, and unlike Recore, there's other games in these genres that do it really well. When you get the horror genre, there's only really like 5, if that do it well. And I think you could have been one of the top 3 in those genres. But it's just like, I'm going to say this, and I know you're probably not going to agree with me. But I'm like, man, I wish Microsoft would have backed the truck up for like heavy funding with this game.
Really?
Because I know it's probably funding. They couldn't realistically write, because that stuff's not cheap. Getting someone to write full-fledged stories on stuff.
Yeah, it's not.
But I'm just sitting here looking at this. I'm like, man, and especially, cutscenes cost a lot of money to make.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, this could have been something great. Like, great. Yeah. But what did you feel about that little bit you played, man?
I mean, like I said, I liked it. I just have to be in the mood to play a puzzle game like that, like a game where you have to, that's mostly puzzles. I will tell you this: is this the studio first game?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad for what to be their first game. I'm going to go back to it and give it a little bit more chance, but now I'm fully engaged in A Plague Tale Requiem, so I'm definitely going to go back to it later. But so far, it's all right. It's it's obviously not an action game like the Doom or anything like that, but I'm going to go back and give it a solid try. I have to sit down and be ready for it. So
yeah, it's their first game. It looks like on their website. Scorn's the only game that's under projects.
Yeah. But it's not bad for their first game though.
It's a really solid, first attempt. It's just like, I'm sitting here looking at this. I'm like, you guys could have literally had the world with this. Because I'm looking at this game, and I feel so disgusted. I'm playing this game, Dirt, and I'm like, I need to burn my eyeballs out. Like that. That's how much it's just. Did you get to the point where you like take the person off the wall and you're like carrying them around the little shopping cart thing?
No, I'm not even that far into it yet.
Yeah, it's creepy. So you get this thing off the wall and you're carrying it around in a little shopping cart. Spoiler, by the way. And you put it in this machine, and it cuts it in half.
I did see it on
And the only reason you do it is because you want his hand. Like, so apparently there's another way you can do to save him, but I'm just like, this.
You're like, damn.
This has this much attention to detail. This has this much lore going in with these hands, but it doesn't explain anything else. Mm-hmm. Like, why is this person on the wall? Like, why are you even here in the first place? Where are you even going? So $2 super chat from Jez, from Jesh. I don't know. Jeesh. Welcome to Xbox Midtober.
Oh, come on.
Jokes.
Show some
got
respect.
jokes. Got jokes.
Show some respect. Jeesh.
Yeah. What you playing over on PlayStation? That's what I want to know. Ain't nothing been on PlayStation all month. You said October, fam. You didn't tell me the year. I probably could have gave you the year, but you said October, so I can definitely clown on that. What's been on PlayStation October? Jeesh. What's been on there, Jeesh? Yeah, Jeesh, right there. I'm looking at you, Jeesh. What's been on there? October. What's been on there? Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah, you jive turkey.
Someone said Addict should finish Scorn before judging. Probably. It's probably the best thing I could do.
It's his first impressions,
I've never said it was a review.
Yeah, his first impressions.
Saving him is an achievement. That's cool. That is
hey, Aaron, I unblocked you. I don't know why you were blocked, because you seem to be a sensible guy here. I don't know if you were a PlayStation fanboy or whatever, but I unblocked you.
Oh, is that the dude last time we did said you were blocked in his chat?
I guess. Mine must have blocked him. I don't know. But he seemed to be a sensible guy. He's not like the Eric the Beard guy. He came in. I don't know if you remember last time we had a show Eric the Beard.
Oh, did he show up?
Yeah, he showed up. It was talking trash. And of course I said, yo, man, you got to realize where you are. And one of my mods blocked him.
You get one chance, man. With great power comes great responsibility.
No, it's just sometimes, even though we talk trash, but sometimes, my mods and some of the people that listen to the channel, we need a safe haven away from the ponies. Just let us enjoy
I feel
the
you
show.
on that. When you're constantly, like, I just don't understand why people go to chats just to troll. Like, I'm not gonna sit there expect I listen to more of these podcasts than you guys think.
Right.
I never say anything in the chat, like rarely, unless I'm like maybe I'm listening to your podcast a week or something, and I'll be like, let me say something that they're talking about on the chat. But I'm just like, man, why you guys literally go into chats just to try to upset people? It makes no sense to me. So let me go ahead.
Like coming to chat, like Xbox trash. We're like, get out of here, bro.
I get it though. I don't really get it, but it is what it is. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the bread and butter of the podcast, man. We started this at 28 minutes on the dot. There you go, timestamp mafia. So CMA, they continue their onslaught, man. It's getting pretty bad. So, well, Dirt, tell me what's been funny for you. What things have been funny for you watching all this unfold?
I gotta be honest with you, my man. Let's get the super chat before we go into this.
Jeez.
Another 2. Tell Xbox to fix PC Game Pass. It's broke.
So okay, hold up, jeez. So first you say there's no games to play, but now you're saying to fix the subscription service to play the games.
Yeah,
make it make sense, jeez. Nah, I appreciate the $2, jeez. I don't know if you're trolling or not. They do need to fix the app, that's for sure. But you can't come in here with smoke and not expect smoke back. Continue, Dirt.
There you go. All right, so like I was saying, I got to be honest with you. Lately, I would say, in particular, the last week and a half, it's been kind of making me angry because it almost seems like the CMA is Sony. Like some of the things they're saying, I'm just like, what?
It's like that meme that's like he copied me word for word, bar for bar.
It's crazy. I'm like, hold on, man. It just seems like their main focus is to protect Sony, not the consumer. They're supposed to be protecting the consumer, but it doesn't seem like that. I saw somebody post something where it said CMA, they mentioned Sony, like, don't quote me on this, maybe 20-something times, but mentioned consumer 3 or 4 times. Like, I don't know, man. This is very weird to me how this is happening now. I'm obviously not a lawyer. I don't know what happens if the CMA rejects this. Does it go into litigation? What happens? But it seems like it's going to be a while, man, because this seems like Xbox. I'm sure Xbox was expecting this from the CMA. It seems like they were expecting this. They're very smart. The Xbox, they're Microsoft, like one of the richest companies in the world. I'm sure they have the best lawyers money can buy. I'm sure they were expecting some resistance from the CMA. And if this goes to court, we'll see what happened. But I'm also noticing people that's rooting for this to be blocked, of course. But the CMA is on some other stuff right now, Addict. I just don't know. They're celebrating hypocrisy. I'm actually glad that Silent Hill got announced as a 12-month timed exclusive for PlayStation to show that they continue to do these deals. Which, they're doing the deals, but come on, man.
How much you want to bet? Well, shout out to just $2 super chat with Chess again, saying I like playing mobile. Well, that's the problem with you, man. Well, then if you play mobile, why you want on PC Game Pass?
Right.
That makes no sense. I think you troll, and you do really bad at trolling. First off, let me just point that out. But you're making no sense. You're making no sense.
Hey, Addy, let me say this before you go. Chio Walker in the chat. Yo, what's up, brother? He says Sony was mentioned 52 times. Consumers mentioned 10 times. Is it about the consumers or is it about Sony? I mean, you're supposed to be for the consumer. What does CMA stand for anyway? I don't know what it stands for.
Someone in the chat, if you know what CMA stands for, why Google it.
I think I can put it. But it's like you're supposed to be about the consumer. Why are you mentioning Sony 52 times? Competition and Markets Authority. Competition and Markets Authority. I just don't get it, bro. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it, bro. It's just like, and PlayStation, like somebody told me earlier in the,
yo, look Twitter. At Country Music Awards. Can't make it out. Yo, okay. I like these. Hey, put people in the chat. Put Put in the chat. Let's put some fun. What does CMA stand for? Put in the chat. We'll read a couple of them at the end of the show. Here's my thing. It be feeling like it's like literally Jim Ryan gave them a piece of paper. It was like, here's my issues, and they're reading almost word for word what he said. Like instead of attacking scenarios that would make sense, like cloud gaming or maybe subscription model gaming, instead of attacking stuff that you could kind of see maybe would be a monopoly in the future if this deal goes through, they're attacking stuff that makes no sense why it's a competition at all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it feels like they keep, instead of attacking, we can't let them buy Activision, Blizzard, and King because they will get Call of Duty. They're not attacking. Well, if they buy King, they'll have one of the top tier King companies. They'll have, the majority. They'll have a good market on the PC market, and they'll have a lot of good, sway things with the marketing from Call of Duty to Overwatch. They'll be able to use that to maneuver themselves overall. I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, the only thing you ever really talk about is Call of Duty.
That's it. That's all they're talking about, Addy. You're absolutely right, bro.
If you were to read these, you wouldn't even know that anything else is part of this deal but Call of Duty.
Absolutely, bro.
$2 super chat from the Angry Therapist. C blocking Microsoft Association. Oh, you guys are funny.
Angry
funny guys, huh?
I talk that stuff, bro.
I think they're clearly. I kind of want them to just call their bluff. Say, okay, we won't sell in the UK. Now what? It's just like, why don't you tell your fan base that not only, I would actually go a step further. Okay, if you think that's the case, we won't sell nothing in the UK. None to your businesses, none to your consumers, none to anyone. See how quick CMA is like, oh, okay, Sony, you don't have enough money to cover that. Like, but I have a feeling they're going to. And did you see the Game Pass like clauses they had for Game Pass with Call of Duty? It said like years. First off, people in the chat who think that Microsoft would uphold that if they bought this, I don't think they would. Like they'll have to go to court and they'll probably have to pay money, but Microsoft will pay money before that will go through.
Yeah, bro. They want it in Game Pass. Even if they leave it on PlayStation, which they said they're going to do, they still want it in their service. They spent $70 billion. They want to put it in their service. So I'm telling you guys, before Addict, my venom was geared towards PlayStation. I would say 98% of my venom was geared towards PlayStation fanboys. Bro, as this CMA, PlayStation, Activision, Blizzard deal we hearing more and more stuff, I'm starting to have some disdain for PlayStation, because for this company to be the monster that it is for the last 25 years.
You would think they're in last place with the way they talk.
Where they're at, bro, they're acting soft, they're acting weak, they're acting super vulnerable. Like, they're playing the victim like, no, they're going to take it away from us. Is this the same PlayStation that beat the hell out of Microsoft last generation, that went on stage and said, this is how you share your games? Is this that aggressive PlayStation? No, they're seeming like some punks right now.
If Shaun was still part of Xbox and he was leading things, I don't think he'd be saying none of this.
Oh, you say Shaun who?
Layton. Shaun Layton.
Oh, okay. If he was still part of PlayStation, yeah.
Part of me feels like if he never left, he wouldn't be saying none of this. I don't know why, but part of me feels like he would rather lose Call of Duty than make his company look weak.
Yeah, bro. And they're looking weak right now, bro. I'm sorry. They're looking weak as hell right now.
They could still have the older Call of games, though, no. I don't know. I personally feel like it doesn't matter what contracts say. Microsoft doesn't have to appeal to none of these contracts. It depends on what they get versus what they have to put. If they get more from putting this on Game Pass and have to deal with the legal foundations on that, I think Sony's not going to want to really go to court with Microsoft too much, you know?
Right.
And it's not even the fact that they would win or not. You know, they could easily win that, but it's the fact that it's going to cost money. And Microsoft's one of the few companies that can keep them in court for years.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, you know, I think they'll come to a good middle ground. I don't know what that middle ground is going to be. I think this has probably been Jim Ryan's, you know, aim from the start to cause enough fuss so he actually has legit bargaining chips going forward. Yeah. And I think, you know, we can say what we want. We can say it makes them look weak because it does make them look weak. But when Jim Ryan's looking at this, you know, I think they did an analysis. I don't know if you heard about this, Dirt, where Sony makes, PlayStation makes more money off Call of Duty than all of their exclusives combined. We got a $5 super chat from Keel Walker. I don't know, man. The CMA. Oh, so I did get it right. Okay. Yeah. See, when I get it right, I still think I get it wrong. Like the CMA also whined that the new ZeniMax games would be Xbox exclusives such as Starfield. Yeah,
they bought them. They can do what they want to do, man. I'm so tired of this. I'm telling you, is that the point? It's kind of making me angry, and I'm noticing some other Xbox guys seem to be angry. I'm noticing guys on Twitter that doesn't do console war stuff or take shots at PlayStation in the past. They be taking shots. Let's just be honest, man. We wanted Xbox to be more aggressive. We wanted Xbox to, you know, use their resources, use what they have. You know, we wanted Microsoft to fully support Xbox, and we're getting what we wanted for years. Now we're getting that. They're trying to stop it.
How much last generation did you hear, Dirk, people say Microsoft's got all this money, they're not spending it? All the time. And now, I'm sorry, Microsoft's done playing with you guys.
Yep.
They're done playing with the industry. They heard you loud and clear. They're opening up the checkbooks.
Yep.
And I have been told they're not done with Activision. Hell, after that, they're buying another publisher. So, you know, and I was told like 6 months to a year ago that they're going to a little bit focus more on the Asian market. So I wouldn't be surprised if those rumored Sega marketing thing, I wouldn't be surprised that that's true. They just haven't made any official pushes. I wouldn't be surprised that there's actual, you know, intent to buy offers on people's desk as we speak that hasn't been signed because they're waiting for the Activision deal to go through.
I can believe that too, bro.
The $5 super chat with the angry therapist. Sony being selfish for their fan base, always talking about support the devs, ABK employees at Microsoft to buy them. They want and need the change. I'm on the point now where I'm like, Microsoft might end up buying Platinum Games because they tell me Platinum Games ain't been in a negative light for the longest time.
They've been looking pretty bad, bro.
Microsoft loves those negative light developers because they look at them as a flash sale. We're gonna come in there and pick you up for pennies on the dollar
and fix you.
Yeah, not even necessarily fix you. I think Platinum Games. Look, Platinum Games is a skilled company. But they're like Obsidian in the ways where Obsidian was making some lower end games, but their lower end games were still doing well. But for the most part, I feel like Obsidian made better choices by making some games that was theirs, like the Outer Worlds and Pillars of Eternity, where those sales could keep them afloat as an independent developer if they had to. But people don't realize when you own a company like Platinum Games or Obsidian or Ninja Theory, like all it takes, because you first off you have to split your 100+ teams, sometimes it's lower than that, like 5 different ways to make multiple games at once. Second off, it's really hard to not look at one game could wreck your whole team. Like wreck your whole thing. You think you're doing good, you just made 3-4 good games. Your next game just bombed, and now your whole company's going under.
Bomb ridiculously, yeah. You're right about that, man.
So it's just like, look, like, that's why I get annoyed when people say, why'd they buy Exile Entertainment? Why'd they buy Obsidian? Why ain't they just making their own studios? You know what the alternative was for some of these studios, Dirk? Get shut the hell down.
Yep, there you go.
And that didn't happen.
Like Ninja Theory, you know, they acquired Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory was doing little small games trying to stay afloat. You know, hey yo, Chris Hart, man, you know I'm a mod on this channel, right?
What's he
See,
saying?
that's what you say. He just in there talking to her. Oh, Microsoft got caught lying. What are you talking about, bro? See, this is like guys like him is what I'm talking about. We need a safe haven from these guys. If we're up here, you know, we're having fun, we're talking our stuff. There could be times we're not even talking about any fanboy, so we could actually be talking.
And they'll bring up fanboy
and
stuff.
He will come up and hear Xbox is dog trash, you know, blah 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 blah. Like, shut up.
You know what the crazy thing about
on my channel,
Christopher. You know, you've always been a pretty solid, you know, supporter of IOP coming on there, like messing with King. But if you don't like Xbox, I'm kind of curious why you're always in Xbox chats. Like, I'm a little. You're gonna have to get back to me on that, Christopher. Chris Hart.
At first, I'm gonna tell you. At first, Chris, I was like, he's harmless. But he would come in like every week, like he wouldn't miss an episode. Then at the point, my mind he started to irritate me. Like, bro, this like you know, because I'm one of them guys. I read the chat while we're podcasting because I like to interact with the chat. And you're constantly seeing this. We're like, bro, let's go to some PlayStation podcast. You don't have to be here. He's on every Xbox podcast I go to and listen to. He's there in the chat. Like, bro. But it's the same, you know. I just don't get it, man.
Yeah, $10 super chat from Gamer about Josh. I wonder what repercussions will happen from the deal. I think Sony stance is indication of issues at Sony. Maybe they are closer to foreclosure than we know. Love you guys, great show. I don't think they're close to a foreclosure. I think that, look, they were making money, but I feel like when you go to people who own it, because people always be acting like thousands of people own all these shares. No. In order to do what they need done, they only need above 50%. And a lot of the times, it's a handful of people that own that much. That's all they had to do. And that's why one of the reasons that the dude that is in charge of Activision that people don't like, what's his name?
The Kotick,
Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
That the reason that he's getting a golden parachute is because he owns all those shares. This man had a golden parachute the moment he bought those shares or got them for working. There's no way, no possibility happens where this man leaves without that money because he has all those shares.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it is what it is. You know, we'll go ahead and close out of here because Dirt. He's got a basketball game.
I gotta see my Detroit Pistons lose tonight. No, they actually might win tonight. I hope they win. I'm just a fan, bro. You know I love this.
Oh no,
I gotta be there.
I do.
I'm talking on my couch is what I'm talking about. I gotta be there.
Yeah, I always joke with King and them too. It's funny to me because I wasn't raised in a household that had sports on all the time.
Okay.
So you don't naturally pick up sports. Like I feel like you have to either because once you're on like your late teens, there's some people that get converted to watching sports, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Like
you
by
watching,
by the time I got into that mindset where people will be showing up, it was already too late. I appreciate you for coming out, man. I'm pretty sure we got all the super chats. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You know, I am going to be planning a special show. You know, we're going to make it a little fun show. Do 1 week there ain't nothing going on because here recently we've been having plenty of news. One thing I will say is I'll be glad when this CMA thing is over.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm done talking about this like on the real. I get tired of talking about this. But Dirt, what's going on? What do you got planned, man? Anything planned?
No, like watch a little basketball tonight after the game. Probably play some more Plague's Tale Requiem. That's about it, man. I want to do a video. I might do a video about this side of here. I got to be honest, Addict. I'm tired of doing content about the CMA stuff. I am because it seems like it's something new every week.
It's literally every week. And the sad part is people can say, well, why do you keep talking about it? Because we make content on the subject. So it's not like we cannot talk about it.
It's a big subject right now. So I think I might do a video about the Silent Hill 2 stuff. And, you know, cool. It's a timed exclusive, but yeah, that's hypocrisy right there, you know. So I might do a video about that, I might not, but that's about it, brother.
Yeah, and then Catch me on Twitter at Lord Addict ILP. Go follow me on YouTube, guys. Gaming Addict. I'm starting to put out almost daily content. I'm gonna try to put daily content. I just got a lot going on, and the girl, I try to kind of have to balance her too. I don't want her sitting in in the room just not doing nothing because I'm always on my PC. So I got to make it somewhat of a balanced thing. But I appreciate everyone coming through. We'll be back next week. Sorry about last week. I wasn't mentally there, man. I had no right. I had no business being on a podcast that day. I needed time to recuperate and reset my mind, and I appreciate all for that. But I appreciate everything. We're gonna see you next week talking about the past, present, future gaming. Peace.
I'm sure it'll be some more CMA stuff.
Yeah, keep spamming the chat, man. Keep spamming the chat.
Yeah, some more people.
Follow Dirk.
Check out my channel. Check out my channel.